Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Tiger II. It's the Tier 8 German heavy tank. It's located on the attack team on Karelia Assault, and this one is being commanded by SlyMeerkat, and alongside him in the AMX 5100 is Omen Enraged. Game on. Well, the Tiger II, or Panzerkampfwagen 6 Aslains B, as it should be known actually. It's otherwise known as the König Tiger or King Tiger, but yes, Tiger II is the actual name that most people gave it in the end. This one is armed with a 105mm gun, which is capable of 360 alpha, penetrating 225 with standard AP, and with the APCR it will go through 285mm of armour. Now, they started designing this Tiger tank in 1943, and they started producing it in 1944, 1945. More Tiger IIs were destroyed by the Americans and the RAF, the American Air Force and the RAF, or rather it was the Army Air Corps at the time, than by the Russians or anyone else actually. They actually destroyed a huge number. 657 Tiger IIs were destroyed in the factory of Henschel. Ooh, took a round from a Type 61 there. Not good. They built 489 that were actually used for battle, and 1,500 were originally ordered by Hitler. Said 657 destroyed in the factory by the RAF, 379 of those were destroyed in 1944 and 112 in 1945. If those had actually served on the battlefield, then it would have been a different story in both Russia and in Normandy. They did actually see service in Normandy, but they also saw service elsewhere as well. Okay, got a pen there on that Type 61. Oh, and he's gone. Okay, that's good. Okay, let's get moving. It's a bit slow, 38 kilometers an hour top speed. The design cues, as you can probably see, it looks very much like the Panther, and of course the Panther design cues came from the T-34. It's got that sloped front armor. They were trying to make a Tiger tank that had the same attributes as T-34, but with a much bigger gun. Okay, T-28 didn't pen him, went for the cupola. Good shot on the Skoda, 368 off that one. Now remember, it's a 360 alpha. Whoa! The kill shot for the Skoda went to the Panther 2. Oh, took around from the 50 TP, that's not good. Snapshot one back. Just gonna have to remember that guy. Gun depression is only 8 degrees, so that's why Sly is having a bit of difficulty trying to get the gun to bear. Now it's got the extremely powerful KWK-43 L71 gun. It's extremely capable. Trying to get the gun down on that T-28 again. Went through the side armor on that one, 384. Sly's working on his third mark. He's got 2 marks up already. And now he can really go to town. Yep, no problem with that one. Oh, but he took a round from the T-832, the Terminator tank. He's just over that rise. Can he get a shot? Yes, he can. Oh! Ricocheted off the front. Would you believe it? Well, he is fairly well angled at the moment. He was angled then, but go for the top of the turret. No, he went for the body, top of the hull. Upper plate. No, he could go for that turret, but it's a little more difficult to hit that cupola, and it's on the move. Nice shot. Another high roll. 704. It's a tier 9, that one, so he's getting extra XP when he takes that one out. He landed in a tier 9 game with tier 8 tanks in it. So, oh, there you go. Terminator took another round, and he's now one shot. Okay, the Object 704 is a one shot too. Oh! It didn't go through. I wonder where that shell went, actually. It didn't ricochet, but he can get him now. Yep. He exposed the weak spot, which is, of course, the corners. And now he can go through the side. Yes, and takes out the Terminator as well. So he's now got 2 kills. Omen Enraged got 2 kills as well. Already got up to 3.5k of actual damage. And he's pushing. At T28 down there. Oh, he's gone. Okay, so no threat from that direction now. And the last enemy is the TNHT Viz 51. We're already started capping, and the Arty is helping us, or trying to at the very least. Here we are. One through the side, but we did take 1 round. We're now 1 shot to him. Now, what's going to happen next? Pumps 1 through the side and wins the game! And his gun's up! He's happy! Well, that was a brilliant end to that game, because not only did SlyMeerkat get an ace tanker out of that game, he got his 3rd mark of excellence for a really spirited and aggressive roll towards the enemy. He got a fire for effect for doing more damage than the hit points to his own vehicle, a duelist for taking down 2 tanks who damaged him, a bruised medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. He got 5 exactly. He also got a hand of God for surviving the battle, having received damage from at least 4 different enemy tanks. And because both him and Omen Enraged managed to get 3 kills apiece, in fact they got 3 exactly apiece, they both ended up with the Brothers in Arms, which is pretty difficult to get at this level when you're both going into a battle from the start. It's much easier to get a dynamic Brothers in Arms, but to start off, it takes good players to get a Brothers in Arms at this level. Let's have a look at the win 8. 7,390 Super Unicum Standard. Congratulations, Sly, on your 3rd mark of excellence. Let's have a look at team score. Well, the highest damage in this game went to Sly with... Alexa, stop. Sorry about that. Interrupted again. 4,095 hit points went to SlyMeerkat, but sadly, it wasn't 20% of the enemy hit pool, and that's why he didn't get the high caliber. Second highest damage went to Omen Enraged with 3,758 hit points. And of course, he gets Brothers in Arms as well. And the 3rd highest damage went to that Terminator, the T832, got 3,083 hit points. When it came to kills, it was the M46 Patton that did the best with 5 kills. Sly managed to get 3, so did Omen Enraged. Nobody else on the in any of the teams actually managed to get more than 2 kills other than those guys. When it came to base XP, it was, yes, Omen Enraged who got the highest with 1,567 went to him, 1,357 went to Sly, and 985 went to the M46 Patton. He fired 21 rounds in that game, 18 direct hits on the enemy, 13 penetrations, damage of 4,095 hit points, of which 1,096 were at more than 300 meters. He received 5 hits from the enemy, 4 of them penetrated, 1 non-penetration, and 320 hit points of damage blocked by armor. He damaged 8 of the enemy, killed 3, and he did 875 hit points of damage assistance. He earned 66,582 credits on a premium count, but because he used a lot of premium ammo in that game, well, he needed to get the 3rd mark of excellence, really. That's why he wanted to make sure every shot counted. And that extra penetration really is fundamental when you are fighting for a 3rd mark. And after ammunition and consumables, he actually made a loss of 58,087 credits. But because he got his 3rd mark, I don't think he'll be in the slightest bit worried about that. 2,035 XP. There was no multipliers because this wasn't the first game of the day, but he walks away with 2,035 and a big smile on his face because, yes, he got his 3rd mark. This battle only lasted 6 minutes, 6 seconds. Very well played indeed. Let's have a look at the armor for this beast. Yes, the Tiger II, it does look like an over-large Panther tank, except, of course, for the turret. And many people think it's a Porsche turret. No, it's not. It's actually a Henschel turret, but lots of people think that it's designed by Porsche. Anyway, that upper plate, it's angled back to give you extra armor. And you can see that the actual impacted armor is 160, but after the angling, it comes out at 205. You can see the frontal plate there is 245 millimeters, coming out effective 245 because it's flat. The sides of the turret, you can see, are very well angled to deflect the shell. And even though they're only 120 millimeters, from the front, they're 269 effective. And of course, there we've got that raked top of the turret, which is only 50 millimeters, but with that angle involved, it's more than likely going to ricochet. The component is a weak spot. You can go for that. 155 millimeters, but effective 158. So it is possible to pen the cupola, and it is a spot you can go for. The lower plate's probably easier to go for because it is 100 millimeters and coming out effective 169. If you go for the sides of the vehicle, they're even weaker. 18 millimeters with effective 90. And on the sides of the turret, well, the front it's actually strong, but that's because they're expecting to have the enemy shooting back at them from the front. So it may be 120 millimeters here, giving you 122 with the angling. But towards the rear of the turret, it goes down to 80 millimeters. They're trying to save weight by having most of the armor at the front of the vehicle. And of course, that's effective only 84. If you want to have a look at the armor on top, can you take one of these out with an artillery round? Well, it's 40 millimeters at the front. So it's pretty difficult to actually take out the Tiger II with an artillery round from the front, because if you hit the upper plate, you're going to be hitting 160, so you're not going to pen that. And if you hit the front part of the tank, it's 40 millimeters, coming up 47, so probably not going to pen that either. If you hit the top of the tank, 50 millimeters again, not very likely to pen that. But if you get towards the back of the tank, if you can aim for the back, 40 millimeters, you've got a much better chance of penetrating the rear. And if you go for the engine deck, 40 millimeters again, coming out about 50. So yes, you should be able to pen the rear of this vehicle, not the front. Let's have a look at the live version. This is, of course, with the 105 millimeter gun. You can see with the angling of the armor, yes, your upper plate gets even better. 160 now becomes 251. Very difficult. And looking at that lower plate as well, 100 millimeters has now become 224. And so the more angled you are, the less likely the enemy is going to be able to pen you, which is good news in some ways, but of course it does expose your weak sides of the tank. So most angling would actually be only just enough to actually bounce the shells off your front plate, and you either want to hide your lower plate, but you're still getting a decent effective armor of 205 from the 100 millimeters with slight angling. And over here, well, you've got a good chance of ricocheting at the rear, and at the front, 80 millimeters becoming 166. Yeah, I think you can angle with this tank and make the shells bounce away. Let's have a look at the modules. Okay, that's better. Right, we've got the driver on the right-hand side, the radio operator on the left-hand side with the radio. Transmission's actually in front of them, so that helps protect their legs. But if you look at the tank, you can see right down the sides of the vehicle are one big ammo rack, both sides. So yes, if you can penetrate through the sides of the vehicle, you can do some damage, possibly set the thing off. The ammo rack actually stops just before the engine bay area, and then you've got fuel tanks along the sides of the vehicle. So where you've got that weak armor, it is possible to get through and set the thing alight. At the back, we've got the fuel tanks are actually fairly low down. There is one right at the very back of the tank which you can set light to. Normally, there is an engine that's sandwiched between two fuel tanks, one either side, and of course that allows for easy filling because you've got the filler caps on the engine deck. But the fuel tanks in these ones are fairly low down, but it's these ones up here that you can set light to at the rear in the flanks of the tank. So that's probably what you want to go for. Ideally, though, you want to go for the ammo rack in the bustle of this tank. And I believe they did actually reposition the shells in the real Tiger II, because of course they were getting too many ammo racks in the Tiger IIs. So I think they did re-establish or put the shells somewhere else in some other way so that they could be less vulnerable. But in the game model, you've got two massive ammo racks right at the back of the bustle, and that's the place to aim for. Got the gunner on the right-hand side, the loader is on the left-hand side, and of course he's operating, taking the shells directly out of the ammo racks there and feeding them into the breech. They are big shells as well. It's not; these are not small ones. These are 105mm, so they're even bigger than the 88mm shells which you would normally see on a Tiger tank. So lots of vulnerabilities there. The best place to aim, bustle, or go down the flanks of the sides of the tank, the hull. And towards the rear, of course, you can either get the engine or you can set fire to the fuel and do it that way. And that's it, basically. Another two fuel tanks are deep inside the hull, but I doubt if you're ever going to get near those because, of course, we've got the Schachtel Laufwerk, the overlapping suspension here, which is going to stop you from getting to those fuel tanks altogether. And you're not going to get these ones at the back either here because they're protected by the suspension. So there you go. That's the modules on the Tiger II. So congratulations again to Sly for getting his third mark of excellence and another ace tanker. He really fought that one hard, while Snowman in Rage went for the cap area and taking out some of the other tanks nearer to the cap. It was Sly who was actually taking on the enemy's heavies face to face, and of course their heavy armor, such as that T28 and then the 704 getting involved as well. That was a really difficult game for him, but certainly it was a great result at the end. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.